They recommend you hand wash your Bankky spatulas during your first use. Then after that, you can toss them directly into the dishwasher if you want. These Bankky spatulas are dishwasher safe.
Hi there and welcome to Let's Bake and Cook Stuff. I'm Mary and today I am making fluffy pancakes. Not just regular old pancakes, but fluffy pancakes. I'm pretty excited about it because I'm using these new, I'm going to call them pancake turners, but they're actually called slotted spatulas from Bankky. I got them from geekcom.com and they asked me to show these to you and how they work. You can see over here I have them boiling in some water so you can see how hot they go. I'm going to be using these to flip over some pancakes pretty soon. They are heat resistant up to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. I know, right? When would you ever need that to be that high? But it's kind of cool that it does, right? I'm going to make pancakes, but before I do that, I'm trying something new. So we're trying this together. Fingers crossed. I'm using whey. I made cheese yesterday. I made some ricotta cheese, and later I'm going to be making a manicotti video, which you will have the pleasure of watching soon. Anyway, the whey, they say you can save it and use it in soup and smoothies, and I'm going to use it in pancakes. It's 3/4 of a cup of whey. If you don't have whey, don't make your own cheese, and you don't have whey, milk will work fine, and any kind of milk. And I'm putting in here 2 tablespoons of vinegar. I don't know if you can see this vinegar. It's maple vinegar. I thought that would be fun for pancakes because we're going to be putting some maple syrup on them, right? But if you have just regular white or even apple cider vinegar, use that. Now this has to sit for 5 minutes so that it can curdle, and it's sort of turning into like a buttermilk, but as you know, that's just a substitute for buttermilk, right? You know, that's not actually, doesn't turn it into buttermilk when you do that, but it's a nice substitute when you need it. We're gonna let this sit for 5 minutes and then we'll be back. Another thing I wanted to share with you about these spatulas is they are BPA free, which is important because BPA is poison that can get into your food. Once it gets hot, it seeps into your food. There's none of that in here. I'm gonna try and do eggs too with this and see what happens. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. I am going to place our whey and our vinegar mixture into my bowl. To that, I'm gonna add 1 egg, room temperature, and 2 tablespoons of melted butter. It was liquid a few seconds ago. It hardened up. Okay, let's combine these. Now I have 1 cup of flour. Just all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And you need that soda for some leavening. And then 2 tablespoons of sugar. Just gonna whisk that up. Now I'm gonna add the dry to the wet ingredients. And then the hardest part of doing this is coming up. This needs to sit for about 20 minutes. Okay, you can see this is puffed up a little bit, and that's because of science. The vinegar is reacting with the baking soda, okay? And so that is making it bubble up, and that's what's gonna give us these fluffier pancakes. They're gonna be lighter and airier than regular pancakes. They're still gonna taste like pancakes, and they're still gonna be delicious. I'm gonna spray my griddle here with some buttery spray, and I'm gonna try this little ring thing. I got this from a fundraiser from one of my grandkids' fundraisers. It's actually for eggs, but I thought it would be kind of cool to see if I could make the pancake even lighter and fluffier with this little ring. So we'll see what happens. I've got my griddle set to 350. If you're doing this on your stove, just in a pan, which is perfectly fine too, then you would want that on medium heat. And normally when I'm making pancakes, they're at 375. But since these are going to be fluffier and higher, you want to make sure that they're cooked at a lower temperature so that they cook that middle part, okay? Otherwise your middle part will be, your outside will be done or burned and your inside will still be raw. And you don't want that because there's raw eggs in there. And also, ew. Okay, my griddle's nice and hot. I'm going to first put in here in this cute little ring circle thing here. This is 1/4 cup. You can make these any size you want. And if you wanted to make these blueberry or even raspberry or chocolate chip, this is where you would add your chocolate chips or your blueberries or your raspberries. Once these start bubbling on top and they get dry around the edges, that's when you're gonna know that they're ready to flip over. That one in the mold seems like it's gonna be even fluffier and prettier. And what's cool about this is that If you have too many, it's just me here right now, so I'm definitely not going to eat all these. You can put them in the freezer, put them in with some wax paper or some parchment paper in between, stick them in a container or in a zip top bag, and then just toss them in the toaster or the toaster oven when you're ready to eat them, and then I'll crisp them back up. You can do it in the microwave too, but they won't be as they won't get that crispiness back on them. All right, let's see. Perfect pancakes. I'm gonna move these over a little bit too. I'm gonna flip them in the order that I place them on the pan. I want to move those really bad because they're in my way and they're causing chaos here. Okay, I'm gonna cut this one off. These grew together. Don't judge me. And are you watching my spatulas? How good they're working? Okay. One more of these regular ones, and let's see what happens with this. This is so fluffy and pretty. Oops. All right, 1, 2, 3. Most perfect pancake ever. But wait until you see the syrup, what I'm gonna do with this syrup. We used to go to this restaurant that used to offer this syrup like this. And I like Mrs. Butterworth syrup. If you like pure maple syrup, please use that. I am not a huge fan of it. I cook with it, but I think it's overrated. I don't really, I won't say I hate maple syrup, but it's runnier. It's waterier to me. This is a thicker syrup, but by all means, if you like pure maple syrup, then use that. And these are done. Oh, take them off in order. Look at that side. I know, right? Oh, this is kind of hot. Take them off with my Bankky spatula. Look at that. These are so good. You can add other things to them, as I said, if you want to make them into blueberry or put nuts in them or whatever you want. Look, this is my favorite one. That's the one I'll be eating. Come back in a second because I'm going to show you how to dress up this syrup. I'm sorry, I forgot that I told you I was going to also try and cook an egg with this spatula. So I'm just going to put a little bit of butter on here. You could again use your buttery spray. Just going to crack this egg right in the middle here. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Now let's see what this Bankky spatula can do with this egg. This is pretty well cooked. I'm going to go ahead and flip it. Well, that worked out swimmingly. Thank you, Bankky. Thank you, Bankky. These are also perfect for your non-stick cookware. Won't scratch your cookware. I know. Like, is there any downside to these? I don't think so. I don't know if I've shared with you before that I will roast my walnuts in the microwave. So I'm going to put them in the microwave for 1 minute. Then I'm going to stir them. Then I'm going to put them in the microwave for another minute. Okay, you can smell them. Well, you can't, but I can smell them. When you do this, you can smell them. They're nice and hot, and you can smell them. They're perfectly toasted. If you still want to do them in the oven, or if you don't even want to do that at all, you don't have to. That does bring out the flavors better if you toast them. Just saying. I've already shown you my trick with the cabinet liner, right? Look at that. Won't move anywhere. I'm going to chop these up. I'm going to do a rough chop. They're not going to be finely chopped because I want a good chunk of walnut in there. But again, one of the best things about doing your own thing is you can chop them up. If you want them teeny tiny bits, do that. If you want whole halves of the walnut, don't even chop them. Now you can put as much or as little of the syrup as you want. I'm probably going to put about a cup. But if you want it more syrupy, more syrupier, you can do that too. Now, if somebody offered this to you at a restaurant, you'd pick it, right? You'd be like, yeah, I think I want the walnutty syrup. A little bit of butter. Show some restraint. And then some of my delicious, let me add a little more syrup. This is almost like dessert. If you put whipped cream on here, or some ice cream, or some more syrup. That pancake, for one thing, is so fluffy and airy. So good. And it tastes delicious with that whey. I'm so excited. I used whey in pancakes. But it's that walnut syrup that just brings it over the top. I mean, it really is delicious. Oh, so good. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. If you have not subscribed yet, please consider doing that. I will see you next time. You take care now.